We got a lot to talk about here. We got a lot to talk about. Now, let's talk about what's been going on the news. This post I'm making is actually very dangerous, so I'm gonna make sure I at least look good while I do it. Praise God. Now let's talk. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Brass, aka Raps Truth Seeker, and you are now rocking with Facts and Conspiracies. And I am here to talk to you about what we are seeing currently on the news under the Trump administration. I am going to go ahead and forewarn you people who are big fans of Trump, MAGA people, whoever you are, I don't care right now because it's about you. It's about the American people. It's about all of us here who care for change and a better America. So I'm going to explain to you right now what you are witnessing. What we are seeing in the news, to me, is very familiar. It looks a lot like shock and
Allegedly.
awe. And
all allegations.
For those of you that are not real big on history and don't know too much about history, we've seen shock and awe several times before, but one specific time was under Adolf Hitler when he took power in Germany and created a military tactic called Blitzkrieg, which means lightning war. And the point of Blitzkrieg was to overwhelm the opponent. Quickly, you send your planes, you bomb them quickly. You send the tanks quickly. You send the troops quickly, and then they surrender. So I'm gonna bring you right here. Shock and awe. What is shock and awe? Shock and awe bring about rapid change to overwhelm your opponent. What is the reason for shock and awe? Causes confusion, disarray, disunity, and finally, surrender. The whole point of shock and awe is to get you to surrender, because the point is not to have a long and lengthy fight, because that actually teaches you what the tactics of the aggressor is, and it is very costly, and that's what they don't want. So the goal is to do it quickly to bring about surrender. Now, how do you do that? I'm gonna get to that third point. But how do I see this relating to now? I'm gonna show currently what I've seen, and this has been increasing over the years, especially since the first term under Trump. People are arguing more. They are breaking up more. They are creating a space between them and others more. In the middle of shock and awe, that is actually what will get you to surrender the fastest. Why? Because when you're not together and when you're breaking and falling apart, you are not actually coming up with an offensive. You are not coming up with a way to actually win the battle that you are in. So let me help. Some of you are getting on social media and arguing with people and then sharing this post where it's like, oh, if you don't agree with this, then block me. I'm gonna show you. Matter of fact, I'll just choose this one specific post right here because hey, we've all seen it. Now, of course, this is in pertinence to the ICE raids that are going on with the illegal immigrants and people actually being picked up at work or at home and then being deported. But you have calling other humans illegal on grounds you stole is diabolical. Now, how's that divisive? Posts like this are racially charged. Posts like this are also grounds for more division. Because why? Because you're going to always have somebody like Jason here who says something like, so this will be unpopular, but this has happened all throughout history, from the Huns to the Mongols, continuing. And of course, you'll have opposing posts like this one. I'm going to go ahead and say this one time and one time only. America cannot and will not survive without Hispanics. They come over here and do the jobs that we won't, don't, and can't do. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to just throw this out here, but there's also Haitians, Jamaicans, and various other ethnicities that are being deported as well. But this is my point. The media is furthering the divide in the people, and this is going to make it where the people don't even come up with a way to actually help each other. Which will what? Lead to surrender. And that's what you don't want. Please do not take my next statement wrong when I say this, but some of you have already surrendered and don't even realize that's what you did. You started saying things like, God's got it. God shows up when man does things too. Faith without what? Faith without what? Yeah, faith without works is dead. You got to have the faith and the works. You got to start for God to help you. See what I'm saying? So you got a lot of people where they're like, well, God's got it. Please leave me be. And that's not the plan of shock and awe. Shock and awe has an end result. So I'm not picking on you people that's just, saying God's got it. It's all in his plan. But I am saying to do nothing is to consent. That's what I'm saying. Now let me delve into my comparison between Trump and Hitler with this. I'm not saying that Trump is getting ready to go to war with the world and all of that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, let me show you the comparison here. How Hitler used shock and awe tactics to get what he wanted.
But how did Hitler do it? Well, with the support of millions of ordinary Germans who just wanted Germany to be great again, and business leaders who initially thought they could control him. Plus a cadre of devout political allies willing to do whatever he said for the sake of power. A new piece by The Atlantic lays out how Hitler ended a German democracy and installed a dictatorship with blinding speed and entirely constitutional measures. In that period, Hitler emerged emboldened after being imprisoned for staging a coup. His rage and xenophobia gained followers after the financial ruin of World War I and the Great Depression, and helped get him selected as chancellor. Once in power, he moved with shock and awe.
We're going to come back to that report in a moment, but first, I want to focus on the use of that term, shock and awe, because we are currently in that phase of Donald Trump's power grab. In fact, a Republican senator even anonymously described his approach as, quote, shock and awe, where you bring about a rapid change so as to overwhelm your political opponents. It's also been described as a flood the zone strategy by Steve Bannon, who says, Monday, you hit, you flood the zone. Second week, you'll flood the zone. It's working. It's just stunning to me what they're doing, and it's not getting covered because it's too much. They're overwhelming the system. And that is exactly what is happening right now. Both Democrats and the media are struggling to keep up with everything that he's doing because it's just too much. That's by design, and it's working. In fact, the leader of House Democrats put out this cryptic tweet feigning powerlessness and basically said, well, it's in God's hands now, which doesn't necessarily instill confidence in his constituents who put him there to fight. But thankfully, Dems are at least vowing to fight. The problem is they're also preemptively conceding on multiple battles in order to focus on the main war, which is worrying. So NBC's Sahil Kapoor outlines their Trump 2.0 strategy, and here's what that's going to look like.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries held a private meeting with Democrats and warned them that the administration is going to flood the zone and that Democrats could not afford to chase every single outrage or nothing was going to sink in for the voters. That's according to a source in the room who I spoke to. The next day, here's what he told reporters. Take a listen.
The House Republican contract against America is an extreme plan that will not lower costs for everyday Americans. It will make our country more expensive.
And that's going to sum up the Democratic message for the coming weeks and months that Republicans don't have a plan to address the concerns at the kitchen table.
Now let's go a little further. Shock and awe. What is he doing? He's outgunning, stunning, and then making you run. Outgun. He's using the government power. He's using the fact that he's the president, and he's using his power with the media. Stun. Right now, the citizens are stunned. They're like, can't believe that Trump did this. And they'll talk about it for the next 3 days, and then he's still signing stuff. And now the next phase would be run, break the spirit, then control. That's what this plan looks like. It's boiling down. There's some other comparisons that I could draw here. Found guilty felon, Hitler in prison. You guys can read all of that, right? I'm running out of time. That's why I'm asking. There you go. I may even have to make a second video, but I just want you guys to get a picture of what I'm talking about here. It's not just a little thing that's going on here. No, he's doing this stuff. And it's to the point where even the news channels are noticing and they're calling it like they see it. It's to the point where somebody like me, who is not a politician, and I'm just sitting here paying attention and looking at what's going on in politics, but I'm calling it like I see it. Guys, he's doing shock and awe. Now, for those of you that might be wondering, how do we beat this shock and awe thing? The answer is, do not fall apart. Do not fall out with each other. Do not start posting those things that says, oh, well, if you support this, you could just block me right now. Look, that's not how you do this. You're actually feeding into the plan when you do these things. Actually come together and figure out what you're going to do if this, if that. Some of you are able to look at the Project 2025, the motives and what it's actually saying, what's written in there, the initiatives. And you guys are like, okay, I see that he's following it step by step. Well, then that means you know what's coming. So then prepare for that. The stuff that's going on with the government aid, you guys should be talking to each other and coming up with ways to get around that, ways to feed each other. Here's an example right here. And this is just something small. You might as well call it a parable. If one person has bread, one person has butter, and one person has fire, then together we got toast. We are eating. Fall apart. Do not sit here and get mad at each other. Do not start fighting each other, because that's what leads to him getting what he wants. And then that gives him full control. All right? Don't let them control y'all. Keep God first, family second, the prosperity will be third. All right? And that's my message for you guys today. Probably gonna have to do a part 2 because there's so much more that I want to say. But we're working. This is me staying united with you guys, trying to figure this thing out too. And the best answer that I have for you is keep God first and make a move. Love, peace, 9. Take care of each other, y'all.
Shock and awe is a very real military tactic. It's what Hitler used, and it's what the Trump administration is using right now. Hi, my name is Raven. I'm going to tell you all about it and what you can do to avoid falling prey to this tactic. For those of you who don't know, I was originally in the Army as a 35 Papa cryptologic linguist, with my language being Arabic, working in signals intelligence for the Military Intelligence Corps. And I was also a female airborne infantryman. It's kind of a wild story. It's up on my threads if you guys want to ever go give that a read, and I talk about how I ended up on that path. But right now we're going to focus on shock and awe. So what is this tactic? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's shock and then awe. What happens is the person committing shock and awe gives you as much crazy, overwhelming information as possible as rapidly as they can. In Germany, it was called Blitzkrieg. This is exactly what they're doing right now with each new executive order. It's designed to overwhelm you and quite literally shock you. And if you know about shock, it usually paralyzes people. It is a common reaction for people to get paralyzed by shock. That is kind of the goal here, is that it's going to stop you from even being able to organize and mobilize within your local communities, to exercise your First Amendment rights, to protest and to march and to fight back against this regime takeover. That's exactly the goal. And it's working. A lot of people are falling prey to it. So the second half of that is awe. So they do all of these things, right? They throw all of these things at you, all these executive orders, this chaos, this rapid takeover that you didn't see coming, and all these things that you, even as Republicans now, are like, I didn't vote for this is insane, but you're just paralyzed by it. Well, then they come in and they do awe. And that's where Trump is going to make himself seem like some Lord and Savior, because he's going to say, well, look at all of these problems that are now solved. He's going to point at things that he doesn't even deserve credit for. He's going to point at things about the economy, which he inherited from Biden, that he's going to take credit for. He's going to do stuff like this to make himself seem like the savior in this situation. Because, yeah, you just had to endure the worst of it. Yeah, we just had to go through essentially mass deportations, which is exactly how it started in Germany, too. By the way, it was mass deportations of the Jews. Yeah, you had to go through that. We know it was crazy. We know it was a scary time for you, but we appreciate you guys being true Americans and sticking it out through this dangerous time. And now look at us. Look at how great the country is now. We got rid of part of the problem, and we're still taking on the rest of it as we speak. Look at this wonderful new place we've just started to take steps towards and create. It's exactly what he's going to do. Make himself look like the hero afterwards. What this also does is it expands your window of tolerance so that you are willing to tolerate more. It desensitizes you to the things that you're going to see around you. This worked in Nazi Germany. It desensitized the people of Nazi Germany to the point that they were reporting Jews. They were calling the Gestapo and having them come and take the Jews away because they felt like it was their civic duty. They didn't feel any sort of empathy, any sort of emotional repercussion for what they were just subjecting their neighbors to. They didn't feel that because they felt it was their national duty, which is exactly how MAGA is. So how can we combat this? For starters, if a MAGA comes into your comment section, do not engage, block, report, delete. silence, 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 silence. These idiots have such an insane need to be heard that if you if you just keep blocking them and silencing them and not engaging with their comments, they're going to lose their mind and they're going to dedicate all their time and energy into creating fake new accounts and troll accounts just to get their voice out there and really get their pro-Trump stuff out there and argue with liberals. So just block, report, delete, do not engage, and it'll actually keep them distracted long enough that you and your community can get together, organize, and start planning your demonstrations. This will help keep them focused on the right hand while the left hand is doing something different. Also, what you can do, this is something kind of small, kind of, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really matters. Ladies and gentlemen, and anybody in between who doesn't fall on that spectrum, you can start wearing red lipstick. It was Victory Red that they wore in World War II. I don't know if any particular cosmetic company still makes that color, but you can just wear red lipstick in general. It was what women in the US wore as an FU to Hitler, because at the time, Hitler outlawed red lipstick in Germany. This can be seen as a sign of defiance against the system, and I know you might think, well, I don't feel like I'm doing a lot by wearing red. You are, because it's really helpful for other people when they feel overwhelmed and alone and like everybody else is on Trump's side. I feel like I'm all by myself out here. It's nice for them to have a visual, to see somebody, and without having to exchange words, they can just go, okay, I'm not alone. I will warn you, the second that you start doing this, MAGA women are going to come in and try and co-op it. Let them. Do not stop. Do not change course. Let them. They're going to try and co-op it. They're going to try and troll people with wearing the red lipstick, blah, 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 blah. Do not let it stop you. If they want to wear it, great. Guess what? Now they're showing off to their other MAGA friends that they're on the side of resistance. That's their problem to deal with. You keep wearing the red lipstick. Do not let them take that away from you. Do not give them that power at all, just like you don't give them the power of a voice. Finally, stay on track. Stay on track. Stay on track. Stay on track. There's going to be a lot more chaotic news coming our way within the next few days. Stay on track. Do not lose focus. Continue to meet up with your local chapters and your local organizations. Go on Google. There is a lot of organizations around you that you can join. Defense of Democracy, Voices Ignited, Common Defense is one for veterans that you can join. There's Veterans Against Fascism. There's a bunch of organizations. Look them up and go to meetings, see if they align with the goals that you have, and then start planning with them. Start actually planning. Start submitting the paperwork for the permits, for road closures if you want to march, if you want to have a demonstration. Start actually doing that. And no matter what these MAGA people throw your way, block, delete, report, silence, mute, stay focused. And whatever headlines come out, it's going to shock you, it's going to make you afraid. Do not lose focus. Keep planning, keep demonstrating, keep organizing. And again, if you're not a planner or an organizer, throw a little red lipstick on. Make these MAGA women get very distracted trying to troll you on that. Because then at least, once again, they're going to look at this hand while you're doing this. Remember, you're dealing with super low intellect here, so think of ways that you would distract toddlers, and that's what's going to work for MAGA. Stay safe, get organized, do not let shock and awe take over and consume you. Stay strong, stay on the course, and keep fighting back. It is your First Amendment right. I love you all.